The Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India have launched the Lab to Land initiative for enhancing the effectiveness of program implementation by building leadership, disseminating knowledge, and encouraging innovations. The objective of the initiative is to build a collaborative, knowledge and innovative community and demonstrate full achievement of objectives of all schemes of rural sector. The ministry has already conducted a series of workshops and enlightened the faculty of SRDs, collectors of select districts and BDOs of select blocks. The Lab to Land initiative envisages a comprehensive information, education and communication and a training strategy for disseminating information on various development programs and thereby enabling the people to know their rights and entitlements, which ultimately leads to the effectiveness of the program. Taking a cue from this, AMR APAD has embarked on Lab to Land initiative under the banner KEYCAP, KEYCAP, which stands for Knowledgeable and Empowered Community, is the key to the community development in Andhra Pradesh. Two mandals, namely Manchal Mandal in Rangareddy district and Parvatagiri Mandal in Warangal district, have been selected for implementation of this KEYCAP initiative. The government of Andhra Pradesh have constituted committees under the chairmanship of the Honorable Minister for Rural Development, District Collector and Mandal Parishad President at the state, district and mandal levels respectively to oversee the implementation of Lab to Land initiative. APAD had organized district and mandal level workshops in Rangareddy and Warangal districts of Andhra Pradesh to sensitize the district officials and officials of the select mandals. The Joint Secretary, Rural Development, Shri Nitin Chandra, during his visit to APAD, had interacted with the officials of these two districts on 5th August 2010 and explained the objectives of Lab to Land program. To begin with, APAD has chosen Chirad Gram Panchayat in Rangareddy district for piloting the KEYCAP initiative. Chirad Gram Panchayat is basically characterized by an agrarian economy with a population of 939. Majority of the population belongs to backward classes and scheduled castes. Of the 1,250 acres total land, 700 acres are being cultivated under rain-fed agriculture and 200 acres are cultivated under open wells. An extent of 250 acres of land in the village limits falls under forest area and is interspersed by small hillocks. Paddy, jowar, castor, red gram are the main crops grown in the village. Since August 2010, the officials of CNRM, CDP and A, media and publication centers of APAD have started working with the community of Chidad village. In order to make the community aware of the concept of Lab to Land, KEYCAP as we call it locally, warm-up meetings were held in Chidad village, which were found to be very useful as the barriers between we and they were broken. When inhibitions, apprehensions and impediments were eliminated, working with the community became not only easier but also enjoyable. A core team with senior faculty members from various centers of APAD has been constituted for overseeing the implementation of the program. The central idea behind constituting this core team is to extend necessary hand-holding support and to stimulate the community thought process. Under the constant support and guidance of Sri R. Subramaniam, Principal Secretary Rural Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, the core team visits the village every Friday and undertakes one or the other targeted activities that will trigger a positive change in the mindsets of people. The congenial atmosphere already created in Chidad village gave scope for the core team to evolve as a think tank which facilitated the weekly meetings called Friday Dialogues. The core team during its first visit on 4th February 2011 had held focus group discussions with village elders, Gram Panchayat members, SHG members, school teachers, and various other stakeholders to take stock of the existing situation in the village and sensitize them on the concept of KeyCap initiative. APARD had planned to utilize the services of educated unemployed youth, that is Bharat Nirman volunteers in the village. 30 Bharat Nirman volunteers were identified with the help of Gram Panchayat on that day itself. The selected Bharat Nirman volunteers were given a basic orientation on KeyCap, Lab to Land, program on 4th February 2011. Subsequently, the BNVs, Bharat Nirman volunteers, were brought to APARD and given 3 days rigorous training covering a wide range of topics like need for volunteerism, patriotism, ethics, moral values, apart from roles and responsibilities of Bharat Nirman volunteers in Lab to Land program. Powerful communicators from Vande Mataram Foundation and Lead India movement were invited as resource persons to motivate the Bharat Nirman volunteers. Sarpanches of Beacon Panchayats were also invited as resource persons to train the Bharat Nirman volunteers. Inspired by the strength of the concept, the resource persons have refused to accept the honorarium and expressed their willingness to be a part of this initiative. At the end of the training program, the Bharat Nirman volunteers were requested to accomplish any one thing in the village, like promoting washing of hands before and after attending nature calls, which is useful to the community, and requested them to report back the achievements through a postcard. Some of them have already started functioning and have started sending their accomplishments on postcards to APARD. Having known that there is an initiative by AMR APARD on convergence and synergy of various programs under KeyCap, Sri V. Lakshmi Narayana, junior lecturer retired from Government Junior College, had come on his own to be a part of the initiative and volunteer to serve mobilizing and organizing Bharat Nirman volunteers.
నేను ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి స్వచ్ఛందంగా స్వీకరించి మరి ఈ కార్యక్రమం జరుపుతున్నాను. ఈ గ్రామంలో సుమారు 40 మంది వాలంటీర్స్ను సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నాము. కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాల చేత నడపబడుతున్న పథకాలు సక్రమంగా అమలు జరిగేటట్టు వాళ్ళ గ్రామము సమగ్రంగా అభివృద్ధి చెందేటట్లు తగిన చర్యలు తీసుకోబడుతుంది.
He is very much instrumental in churning social awareness in Chidad village and organizing them into a vibrant community. APARD strongly believes in participatory learning and action methodologies, and realizing the potential and impact of exposure visits to Beacon Panchayats, had decided to bring the village Panchayat members and Bharat Nirman volunteers of this nondescript village to APARD. It had organized a workshop with all the Bharat Nirman volunteers, Gram Panchayat members, self-help group leaders and village elders of Chidad Panchayat on 10th February 2011. A special bus was sent to Chidad to fetch 60 members from the village to APARD. All the mandal level official functionaries were also invited to the workshop. The faculty members of APARD had interacted with the village team and explained the objectives of KeyCap initiative. In order to stimulate the thought processes of Bharat Nirman volunteers and others, a documentary film on Gangadevi Palli Beacon Panchayat was shown to the villagers, followed by a discussion with Mr. Rajamouli, Sarpanch of Gangadevi Palli. Mr. Rajamouli had narrated the saga of their success, which inspired all the participants and made them to draft an oath which they had administered too. The interaction with Gangadevi Palli Sarpanch had left an indelible impression on the minds of villagers and provoked the urge to develop their village like Gangadevi Palli. The Bharat Nirman volunteers and villagers who were present in the workshop were so inspired that they chalked out an action plan soon after reaching their village for transforming their village into a model village on the lines of Gangadevi Palli.
మా గ్రామ ప్రజలను ఈ అపార్డుకు శిక్షణ కేంద్రానికి తీసుకురావడం జరిగింది. అభివృద్ధి విషయంలో మేము కంకణబద్ధులమై మేము ఖచ్చితంగా మా గ్రామాన్ని మేము అభివృద్ధి చేసుకుంటాం, రాజకీయాలకు అతీతంగా అందరం పనిచేస్తామని చెప్పి మరి ప్రతిజ్ఞ చేయడం జరిగింది.
ఉద్దేశం ఏంటంటే ఇండ్లు మార్చాలి, రోడ్ మార్చాలి, ఆ ఊళ్ళో నీళ్లు మంచివి కావు, ఉల్ల నీళ్ళు మంచి ఇవి అవి కలిస్తే మళ్ళీ జ్వరాలు వస్తున్నాయి, సర్దులు అవుతున్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు అవి కాకుండా ఒక సంపు కావాలి. ఇంకా నాకు కొన్ని లైట్లు కావాలి. ఊరు చీకటి ఉంటుంది సార్, చిన్న బుక్కలు పెడితే పోతున్నాయి, ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుంది. అవన్నీ చిన్న చిన్న సమాచారాలు మస్తుగా ఉంటాయి సార్. తప్పులు జరగకుండా నేను ముందుకు తీసుకుపోతాను కోరుతో సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను సార్.
They have identified certain critical problems daunting the village in the sectors of sanitation, health and nutrition, agriculture, animal husbandry, employment, etc., and decided to overcome these problems through collective effort. They have constituted several committees with the active members of the village community, namely Sanitation Committee, Liquor Prohibition Committee, Health and Nutrition, Animal Husbandry Committee, Forest Conservation Committee, Employees Committee. Each committee had deliberated on the requirements and action to be taken in order to accomplish them. Thus, a plan of action for each committee has emerged, which is being now implemented. The Gram Panchayat, with the help of Bharat Nirman volunteers, has conducted a baseline survey to assess the current status of development in various sectors. APARD had conducted a triggering exercise following community-led total sanitation approach to enable the community to discuss the crude facts about mass open defecation and its negative impacts on the entire community. APARD had facilitated the community to see for themselves that open defecation has disgusting consequences and creates an unpleasant environment by undertaking a transect walk and social mapping. People participated in large numbers in this exercise and discussed at length about existing sanitation practices in the village and resolved to initiate action to improve the cleanliness in the village. The Sanitation Committee had contacted the Rural Water Supply Department and got sanctions for 130 individual sanitary latrines under TSC program. Construction activity is under progress. In order to improve cleanliness in the village, the Gram Panchayat had dismantled 7 abandoned houses which are helping as potential breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Plans are afoot to dismantle another 8 such houses.
మా గ్రామంలో ఉన్నటువంటి పాత ఇండ్లు ఏవైతున్నాయో అవన్నీ మేము కూలగొట్టించి దాంట్లో సాపు చేయించుకున్నాం. తర్వాత రోడ్లు గుంతలున్న రోడ్లను కూడా మట్టితో పోసి దాన్ని కూడా రోడ్లను శుభ్రం చేసుకొని.
The Health and Nutrition Committee requested the local PHC to organize a medical camp for screening HB levels among women to ascertain the malnourishment levels among women. 189 women were screened for assessing HB levels, and the results show prevalence of chronic anemia among women of all ages.
ఇవాళ పొద్దున మన దగ్గర రక్తహీనతకి సంబంధించిన టెస్ట్ ఒకటి చేయడం జరిగింది. అందులో 7 to 8 ఉన్న వాళ్ళు 3 మెంబర్స్ ఉన్నారు సార్. 8 to 9 వచ్చేసి 59 మెంబర్స్ ఉన్నారు. 9 to 10 60 మెంబర్స్ ఉన్నారు. 10 to 10.5 ఉండి 47 ఉన్నారు సార్. 10.5 to 11 5 ఉన్నారు సార్. 11 to 11.5 15 ఉన్నారు. సో ఇప్పుడు దీన్ని బట్టి ఏం చూస్తే అర్థమవుతుందంటే మహిళలు సరిగ్గా పోషక ఆహారం తినట్లేదని అర్థమైంది.
Resolved to undertake campaign activities to enlighten the people about the importance of having balanced diet through a multi-pronged approach involving all sections of people in Chided village. Consumption of liquor and toddy by men and women in Chided village is a common feature, and people spend substantial amounts out of their daily earnings for this purpose. It is estimated that rupees 10,000 is being drained out from the village per day for this purpose. Though the liquor vendors initially hesitated to lose the additional income by means of liquor selling, but keeping in view the interest of the village as a whole, they accepted to refrain from selling illicit liquor, IMFL and beer.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఊరు సేవటికే బాగుపడాలిగా, అంతే కదా. నా ఒక జీవితం కాదు కదా, అందరం ఒక తీరుగా ఉండాలనే కదా బంద్ చేసిన. నెల అవుతుంది.
మాకు ఇంతవరకు అలవాటు ఉండే రోజు తాగేది. మనం అప్పుడు ఆడ మీటింగ్కి వచ్చేసింది, పోయిన తర్వాత బంద్ చేయాలనుకుని నేను చేసుకున్నదాన్ని. అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి వచ్చిన ఊళ్ళో స్టార్ట్ చేసి 10 మందిని కూర్చొని మాట్లాడుకొని కమిటీగా వేర్పరచుకొని ఆ రోజు నుంచి అమల్లో పెట్టినాం.
డిగ్రీ సెకండ్ ఇయర్ చేస్తుంటా. అప్పుడప్పుడు నా ఖర్చుల కోసం క్యాంటరింగ్ పోతుంటా. అవి బాగానే వస్తాయి డబ్బులు. అయితే ఫ్రెండ్స్ కలిసినప్పుడు అప్పుడప్పుడు తాగడానికి కానీ అవి అనవసరంగా ఖర్చు అయిపోయేది. ఇప్పుడు మద్యపాన నిషేధ కమిటీ ఏర్పడినందుకు ఆ డబ్బులు ఇప్పుడు వారానికి ఒక 300-400 మిగులుతుంది.
ముందు అమ్మినప్పుడు మంత్లీ ఒక 1000 రూపీస్ ఖర్చు అయ్యేది. 2 months నుంచి 1000 రూపీస్ బ్యాక్వర్డ్ వెనుకకు పడిపోతున్నాయి. ఖర్చు అనేది తగ్గిపోయింది. టోటల్ పూర్తిగా మందు మొత్తం బంద్ చేశాం.
This clearly shows that it is possible to influence the community by infusing positive thoughts even with a little effort. APARD has been adopting a multi-pronged approach for creating awareness among the community. Mass campaigning activities are being taken up in addition to face-to-face trainings to select target groups. So far, APARD has undertaken Grama Sabha campaigns, writing on wall newspapers, wall writings, covering the events in APARD's Telugu monthly magazine Sthanika Palana, documentary film shows in the village, TV programs on Doordarshan, exposure visits to Beacon Panchayats, and peer group discussions for creating awareness on various rural development programs. The wall newspaper, being maintained by one of the Bharat Nirman volunteers, is greatly attracting the attention of the village community.
అపార్డ్ నుంచి వాల్పేపర్ పెట్టేసి న్యూస్ రాయడానికి కీ క్యాప్ వాల్పేపర్ పెట్టడం జరిగింది. అని ఎవ్రీడే నేను రాస్తున్నాను న్యూస్. అయితే కొత్తలో కొంచెం ఒక రకంగా అనిపించింది, కానీ తర్వాత చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్గా పబ్లిక్ కూడా వచ్చేసి ఏమవుతుంది ఏంటి అని తెలుసుకోవడం కోసం వాల్పేపర్ పైన న్యూస్ చూడడం జరుగుతుంది. ఎవ్రీడే వాళ్ళు ఆ న్యూస్ చదువుతున్నారు.
With the initial triggering and hand-holding support extended by APARD, Chidad village now has transformed as a vibrant community. The community is finding solutions for certain felt needs which are pending for a long time. They could identify an appropriate land for graveyard and got the clearance from Revenue Department. A similar extent of land was also acquired for playground. The community has learnt the ways of cooking nutritious food through Food and Nutrition Board, Ministry of HRD, and taking balanced diet to reduce the levels of malnutrition. Farmers Committee, with the help of Acharya N.G. Ranga University of Agriculture, has got high-yielding varieties of seeds. Impressed by the interaction of Sri Subhash Palekar's team, which visited Chidad, the Bharat Nirman volunteers came forward to undertake NPM, non-pesticide managed agriculture, in an extent of